All right. Hey, everybody. So I'm. This is going to be part of a series of videos where I'm trying to find examples of somebody, somebody having issues with their polar function. So I'm calling them great moments in polar history. Um, and you might have seen my video on Zendaya doing these sort of FI questions, doing the Proust questionnaire, where it's a bunch of FI questions, and she was getting really frustrated. And to me, it was a pretty good example of FI polar showing up. Here is another example. So here is what many of you might have seen this video. It went viral years ago, and it's the candy lady from Wisconsin. And I'm going to show pretty much the whole video so that you get the entire point of what I'm making. And I'm going to hazard a guess and say that she's probably polar, which would make her either an ESFJ or an ESTJ. I'm leaning towards ESTJ because there's a pretty good amount of FI, inferior FI, like fourth stack FI. But what I want you to get out of this is when thinking about the polar function, what ends up happening is whatever the counter function is to your polar function just kind of goes off the rails because it's not really getting tampered down or hampered um, by whatever polar function you have, right? So in this case, uh, check out the level of SI detail that she goes into. And I'm going to argue that it's a function of or a result of her being polar and not able to use NI to focus on what's relevant to her story or relevant to what people might want to hear. And when you hear when you hear me and other people talk about sort of the SI daily rant, where they'll just give you sort of excruciating details on a story. This is a good example of it. But again, I think it's not because she's lead SI. It's not her dominant function taking over. I think it's her secondary function taking over and not having that counter function, that counter knowledge function, that NI function to sort of step in and put the brakes on it or temper it in some way and try to get her to focus on what's relevant. Okay? So in her mind, she's going to give you every detail about this story in very, very SI way. And I'm sure in her mind, every detail matters, right? Every detail is important because it only goes to underscore how frustrating this whole situation was that she's going to tell you about, right? I will let you be the judge of how important you think each of these details is. And maybe at the end of it, we can talk about how maybe somebody with NI would tell this story as opposed to somebody who's polar. So without further ado, here's the candle lady. I'm going to jump in from time to time maybe, but I'm really going to try to let this thing just ride so you get the full effect.
Hello, everybody. This is going to be extremely explicit. So if you don't like swearing or angry people from Wisconsin, then turn your mother effing camera off now. I just got back from Bath and Body Works, and I am going to start from the very beginning. I'm so mad right now, you guys literally have no idea. I was shaking, like, for the past hour I have been shaking to the point where I couldn't even make a video because I was so mad. So let me backtrack. If you guys have been watching my videos, you all know that I have been searching high and low ever since they had the candle sale, 2 for $20 candles at Bath and Body Works. I have been searching for 2 scents. I have been searching for the Winter Candy Apple and the Iced Gingerbread. This is the last day of the sale, Sunday. I have been calling my store in Appleton, Wisconsin. I want everybody to know this happened in Appleton. I have been calling my store every day for the past week wanting these 2 scents. I want Winter Candy Apple, Iced Gingerbread. They were supposed to come out. They were launching in the stores October 29th, so they were supposed to be out. I've been calling Green Bay, Appleton, Fond du Lac, and the outlet in Oshkosh. All 4 stores don't have them. That's not what makes me mad. It ticked me off a little bit, but I thought, they'll eventually come in. No big whoop. So,
Okay, hopefully you're getting the point of the level of detail here with this clearly SI user. Here we go.
I have to calm down because this gets really bad here. So I've been calling. They don't have them. This morning, well, actually yesterday, I called my Appleton store and I said, I hate to bother you again, but I'm calling about these candles. And I said, if I'm harassing you or anything in any way, please let me know. I'm like, because I can be quite persistent. I said, so if you want to take down my name and number, go right ahead and do that, because that way you guys can call me when you get them in. The Appleton store. I gave her my name and number. Hadn't heard from her. I went to the Oshkosh store today, but before I went, I called my Appleton store again. I said, I know I gave you my number and everything. I've been looking for these 2 candles. I'm going to the Oshkosh store, and if you guys have my 2 candles, I'll hit over there. I was amazed. She said, guess what? We have them in. I was like, what? I'm like, please, put 1 of each on hold. I bought 2 peach bellinis a while ago. Actually, I bought 3, so I was just going to take these 2 peach bellinis back and exchange them. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's awesome. So I said, I'm going to go to Oshkosh first. Then I'm going to head, because I live in Neenah, I said, I'm going to go to Oshkosh first. Then I'm going to head all the way to Appleton to get these 2 candles because I want them. And I know that once they get them in, they're going to be gone. I said, please hold a 3-wick Iced Gingerbread and a 3-wick Winter Candy Apple. She said, will do. Okay, everything's fine. I get to Oshkosh. My mom and I are shopping around at the outlet mall there. Just to let you guys know, traffic-wise and things, it was a really busy day because the Packers were playing. This is the only good thing that happened. I think the Packers won. I don't know. I've been busy taking care of bitches all fucking day. Okay. So, I'm seriously really upset. You guys are not going to believe what just happened to me. Okay, so my mom and I are at the outlet in Oshkosh. And all of a sudden I get this call. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. I missed the call. So I call the number back and I'm like, who is this? Someone just called me. And she's like, oh, this is Bath and Body Works. She's like, I was just wondering what time about you are coming. And I said, well, I'm in Oshkosh. We're leaving in about 15 minutes. And then we're headed to Appleton and we will be there right away. I'm just going to go in and out and that's it. Okay. She said, I just want to let you know that those 2 candles that I said that we had, they're not actually in our store. They're in an off-site store. I'm like, an off-site store? And she's like, yeah, it'll only take us a few minutes to go and get them, but I just want to know where you were abouts at the time. And I said, okay. I said, I don't really want to inconvenience you. I said, if you're just going to this off-site store just to get my 2 candles. And she's like, oh, no. She's like, we'll just grab all of them and bring them on over. And I said, okay. I said, well, I'm leaving in about 10 to 15 minutes. I'll be there in a half an hour. Okay, no problem. Great. Hang up the phone. I get to Appleton. My mom does all the shopping. She spent probably $60, I would say, getting the stuff. So my mom gets stuff and I go up to the register with my 2 candles and my mom did her transaction first. And I'm like, hi, I was the person who called. Can you please, get my candles because I'm just going to exchange them. And the woman looked at me really funny. And she's like, she was really a bitch to me. The first woman who helped me out, she had blonde hair. I don't know her name, but she was kind of rude to me. And she's like, I really don't know anything about that. And I'm like, oh no, that's no problem. I'm like, I'm sure the manager knows, not a big deal. And she's like, okay, well, I'm going to help the person in back of you first. And she's like, just wait a minute. So then she leaves and goes to get the manager, comes back and says, they're not in the store. And I'm like, oh, no. I just talked to somebody like a half an hour ago and they said that they were going to get them right away and come back. She's like, we didn't leave yet. And I'm like, you didn't leave yet? I'm like, I called about a half an hour ago. I'm like, they should be here. And she said, we've just been really busy. I look around. There's barely anybody in the frickin' store. There's barely anybody in the store because Packers are playing today and everybody is at home watching TV where I probably should have been. So I said, okay. She said, let me talk to my manager. So she goes back, talks to the manager, comes back out, and she's like, okay, well, the girl is leaving right now to get your candles. So yeah, the girl's leaving right now. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, I'm not going anywhere else in the mall. I'm here just for the sole purpose of getting these candles. So I'm going to wait right here. She's like, okay, well, I'll just help the next customer in back of you. And I'm like, okay. So I'm waiting. About 15 minutes later, Miss Jen, Manager Jen, comes out and says, I am so sorry. I honestly thought that we had your candles at our off-site store, but we only have the small 4 ounces in. And I said very calmly, you're kidding me, right? And she said, no. She's like, what I can do, she said, is I can call around to and I said, no. I said, I've been calling Fond du Lac, Oshkosh, Appleton, where else? Green Bay. I said, I've been calling all the stores. No one has them. And I'm like, I was just so relieved when you told me this morning that you had them. And I came all the way from Oshkosh to get them. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't have them? And she's like, we just don't have them. She's like, I'm sorry, it's my mistake.
Okay, so notice how frustrated she is when the reality of the situation is not matching up to what she thought was the case, right? Her experience having this conversation with somebody who told her that these candles were in the store, that's the SI that she's relying on. The NI part, where maybe people get things wrong every once in a while, or maybe, there was some sort of miscommunication or something, but some sort of alternative explanation of what was really going on or something like that. But really just this inability to accept the fact that things were different than what she had encoded in her SI databank.
So then I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, I guess I'll get my peach Bellini candles back. And then she's like, okay. So she walks all the way around, gets my candles. As she's packaging them up, I'm like, okay. I'm like, I don't want to be rude or anything. I said, but I think I deserve something. I'm like, if it's a free item or a gift certificate or something for what just happened here. I said, because I have been on you guys for a week to try to get these candles. And with you telling me that they were here and I came and I carted myself and my mother all the way to Appleton to get these mother effing candles. I didn't say that. I'm thinking this in my head. This is all going on in my head. And I had a very pleasant face when I was talking. So you know what Jen says to me? You know what this goddamn Jen says to me? I can give you some coupons and put these in your bag. And I said, Jen, I have every single coupon that Bath and Body Works has. I said, I have about 10 of them. I don't need any more coupons. I said, can you give me something else? Something? She takes my original receipt from my peach bellinis, takes it out of the bag and says, there's an 800 number on the top of this receipt, and when you call, you'll get a live person and you can explain to them what happened, and I'm sure they'll be able to help you with something. And I said, a live person? Who the fuck do you think I'm talking to now?
Okay, little bit of inferior FI going on here. And also just not really picking up on probably what the sales associate was getting at. Like, get out of my face. But here we go.
Am I talking to you who is not really here? Are you reality? Because I thought you were a live person. Are you not a live person? I left out the F word.
Again, not really getting the point here in Ni POLR.
And she looked at me and said, I'm sorry, ma'am, I can't help you. And I said, give me my candles now. And she kept on apologizing. And I said, I want to leave this store. Give me my candles now. Meaning, my peach bellinis. So she gave me my peach bellinis. And I was on my merry fucking way.
Notice how she went to her little SI comfort zone right there by smelling the candle. Again, ESTJ, tool function SI, POLR and I.
And that bitch, Jen, you know what I'm going to do, Jen? I'm calling your district manager. I'm telling them what happened and what you did and how
Okay, now we're in full TE Karen mode.
you fucked up. And I'm telling them how that other blonde girl was rude to me. I'm telling them, Jen, oh, Jen, your ass is going to get reamed. It was just a really, really bad situation that ended badly.
Hey, a really bad situation that ended badly. Finally, some NI.
And I'm done now. Thank you for watching. Please share this video with everybody so we can have everybody know in the state of Wisconsin and around the whole United States that Jen from Appleton needs to check her shit out. Bye.
Okay. Well, I'm sharing the video for other reasons, but, Jen from Appleton, you need to check your shit too. So, how would somebody who's not in Ni POLR make a video like this or talk about this situation? Somebody with lead NI might say, hey, I had a really crappy day today. I called the store. They said that these candles that I'm looking for are in. I drove all the way out there with my mom. Turns out they didn't have them. I'm so pissed. That place sucks. End of story. Right? And if somebody wants more details, they can certainly ask for them. But 90% of the population would be like, man, that really sucks, and then move on. So that's in Ni POLR. And again, it's more about letting the SI just sort of take over, right? I don't think this person's a lead SI user and is just letting this tool function just sort of take over and tell you every single detail because, again, in her mind, this is all important to the story because she's trying to share how frustrated she is, a very fourth slot FI kind of thing to do, and feels like all the details are important because you need to sort of have the same experience that she did, in order to get the full effect of the story. Okay, there you have it. I'll be looking for other examples of polar functions. And I know you INFPs out there are probably concerned that we're picking on people and their polar functions, and that's okay. But she seems to have been a good sport about it. She still has this video up on her own account, and it's gotten lots of views, and I think she's been a good sport about it. But this series of videos will be picking on people and their polar functions. I fully admit that. Okay. Have a good one, everybody. Talk to you next time.